Beyond the hives and their incessant industry, an endless war is being fought across the vast Ash Wastes. It is not a war of rival nations or opposing armies, though it can be just as bloody as one of these. Rather, it is a war for the trade routes between the hives. Lord Helmore cares not who controls these routes, as long as the trade keeps flowing, and Necromunda's staggering imperial tithe is met. And so the clan houses vie for lucrative contracts and control of remote road networks to fill their coffers with more wealth. In some places, this descends into open warfare as convoys of merchant rigs fend off mounted marauders as they attempt to get their goods to where they need to be. For a gang that can claim dominion over even a tiny piece of this great trade network, the rewards can be staggering and well worth the price paid in blood, bullets, and lives. G'day folks, and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. My name is Damon, and in this episode we're going to be looking at the Ash Wastes campaign. The full rules for this can be found in the Ash Wastes rulebook, which I believe might be quite hard to get hold of now, seeing as it doesn't seem to be available on Games Workshop's website. You can probably still get it on eBay though, so do go and check that out. But the Ash Wastes campaign is what you get with the entirety of the Ash Wastes setting. Please do like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon as well if you haven't already. And also, just a disclaimer, I would say go and check out my other campaign videos if you're new to Necromunda, because I would say perhaps the Dominion campaign is the best place to start if you are new to Necromunda. The Ash Wastes campaign is not that complicated, but we're going to go through a few things and a few differing details in how it might affect you as a new player to Necromunda as well. So like every other campaign system in Necromunda, you will need an arbitrator. The arbitrator's job is to organize things, set the beginning, sort of start and end dates of the campaign, and basically rile up the players and make sure that they're having a really good time throughout the duration of the campaign. Central to the Ash Wastes campaign is the controlling of roads in this, which differs slightly from, say, the Dominion campaign, where it's all about territories. Here, we have actual sections of road to be controlled throughout the duration of this campaign. To complete this goal and connect to important Ash Waste locations, a gang must be in control of a special kind of territory called a road section. If they can make a path from one location to another by using road sections they control, then they can set up a trade route and reap even greater rewards. Players will start with some road sections determined randomly, but the majority must be won through defeating rival gangs on the battlefield. Outlaw gangs and Ash Waste nomads have a special role to play within an Ash Wastes campaign, while outlaw gangs such as corpse grinder cults or gene stealer cults can be given trade routes and roads like other gangs. It can be imagined they are taking these places over for their own dark purposes. They can also be raiders. The arbitrator can decide if these gangs will be raiders or not at the start of the campaign. Ash Waste nomads do not control trade routes, rather they are always raiders. Raiders gain credits as normal for controlling road sections, extracting them through larceny and destruction rather than tolls. However, instead of gaining the benefits of controlling trade routes, they disrupt them, gaining special bonuses. During the Ash Wastes campaign, each gang begins play with two randomly determined road sections. Each road section links two or more places to one another and can be used to claim a trade route in between these places. So starting the roads and the trade routes in the Ash Wastes campaign is as follows. First, you need to build a road deck, including at least 4 road sections for each player. Then the arbitrator randomly draws 2 road cards or generates them from the table that we've got down below here for each player in either a random order or an order chosen by the arbitrator. And any remaining road sections that are left in the deck and considered to be unclaimed. Each road section represents a different part of the wastes, and when gangs are fighting over the road sections, they are fighting in that part of the wastes. In a battle where a road section has been selected as the reward, battlefield's effects should be generated from the corresponding environment, and this is either near wastes, deep wastes, or the wild wastes. Now there is a D66 to roll on a table here for all the sanctioned road sections. I'm not going to go into every single one of them here, but they pretty much all give you a number of credits. On a 16 here, we have the near reaches. This one is in the deep wastes and gives you 2d6 credits. On a 36, for example, we have Outcast's Passage, which gives you 3d6 credits, and that's in the near wastes. And also in the wild wastes here with a 66, we get Cracked Canyon, and this gives you 3d6 credits as well. Each of these then connects to another road section, and those are listed in there as well. So for example, that Cracked Canyon we just spoke about there is connected to the Witherwell. Claiming a trade route. Now, each road section connects two places, either a location or another road section. To create a trade route between two fixed locations, a gang must control an unbroken chain of road sections that link the listed two locations together. Multiple gangs can control the same trade route by taking different routes through the wastes. If this happens, any gang who controls the route gains the benefits. When a gang gains income from their roads at the start of a campaign cycle, if they control a trade route, they will gain additional benefits as detailed below. So here are the trade routes, and these are the sort of benefits you get outside of the credits once you start linking things up, like the board game Ticket to Ride. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them here, but for example, here we have Angel's Return. If you can link 6 holes to Cinderak City, you get D6 times 10 credits as a trade bonus and 1 free Hive Scum every battle here as well. And for example, Crooked Road here, if you can link Crater's Edge to Cinderak City, you get 1 free ganger and +1 rep as well. So various different rewards here. Very cool indeed. Running the campaign is similar to many of the other campaign systems, and it's broken down into 3 different phases. The first one is the Season of Flame. This is 3 cycles. Then you have a period of downtime for 1 cycle, followed by the Season of Ash, which is 3 more campaign cycles. Much like the Dominion campaign and even the Uprising campaign as well, we have issuing and accepting challenges, and it's basically exactly the same rules here. In the first phase, in the Season of Flame here, the challenger nominates 1 uncontrolled road section to fight over. If they win it, they claim it and it's removed from the deck. During the Season of Ash, though, the challenger nominates 1 road section controlled by the gang they are challenging to be the stake of the battle there as well. So exactly the same as the Dominion campaign in terms of that stuff. When a gang is challenged, they can accept or decline. If they accept, the battle will take place. If they decline, they basically just hand over that road section for free and don't put up a fight at all. Not much fun there at all. If a battle is a draw during the Season of Flame, neither gang gets to take control of that road section. But in the Season of Ash, the gang that controlled the road section before the battle gains control of it as well. So you keep it in the last phase there if you do get a draw in that battle. Now this is interesting. We have 3 different tables in terms of the scenario selection here, and all of the scenarios again are listed in this rulebook here. We have the near wastes, the deep wastes, and of course the wild wastes here. I'm just going to pick a couple from the table, and this is your scenario here. So in the scenario selection tables, we actually have 3 different tables depending on where you're fighting. So if you're fighting in the near wastes, it's a D6. On a 1, the player with the greater number of road sections chooses which scenario to play. On a 2, you play the losers scenario. On a 3, settlement raid. On a 4, settlement showdown. And on a 5, Bone Road Death Race, which is super fun, that one. And on a 6, the player with the fewest road sections gets to choose. In the deep wastes, the player with the greater number gets to choose. On a 1, on a 2, you play the fuel hunt scenario. On a 3, you play the breakdown scenario. On a 4, rescue mission. On a 5, cargo run. And on a 6, the player with the fewest road sections gets to choose the scenario there as well. And in the Wild Wests, on a 1, the player with the greater number of road sections chooses the scenario. On a 2, you play the beast scenario. On a 3, the incoming storm scenario. And a 4, ambush. On a 5, the wasteland encounter. And on a 6, the player with the fewest road sections gets to choose in that one as well. So nice bit of variation depending on where you are in the wastes. Now into the phases. In the Season of Flame phase, which is 3 cycles here, at the beginning of each cycle, gangs gain income from their road sections and benefits from their trade routes. In the first 2 cycles of this phase, all battles are considered to be taking place during the Season of Flame. And in the last cycle of the phase, players roll a d6, and on a 1 to 4, the battle takes place in the Season of Flame. On a 5 and 6, though, it is during the changing seasons. We then have a period of downtime, which is exactly the same as all the other downtimes in most of the other campaign systems. So your fighters recover, your captors are returned, your experienced juves and prospects are promoted, and you have fresh recruitment here as well. With the recruitment, it's exactly the same here. You get 250 credits, but this can also be spent on vehicles and mounted fighters too. Also, during downtime, you can play side battles. These are not battles for gaining road sections. You won't get any scenario rewards from these. You'll just gain XP and injuries appropriately. In the Season of Ash, the last phase, this is 3 campaign cycles. At the beginning of each cycle, gangs gain income from their road sections and any benefits and trade routes they control. In the first cycle of this phase, players roll a d6. On a 1 to 4, the battle takes place during the Season of Ash. On a 5 to 6, you do the changing seasons thing again. In the last 2 cycles of this phase, all battles are considered to be taking place in the Season of Ash. Only controlled road sections may be fought over and claimed as a reward by the victor of a gang battle. We then have the various rewards that you can get at the end of the campaign here. Roadmaster is the player that held the longest unbroken chain of road sections at the campaign end. We have as far as the eye can see is the player that had control of the most road sections at the end of the campaign in total. Road of Corpses, the player that killed the most enemy fighters. Let It Burn, the player that wrecked the most enemy vehicles in a single battle. And Do You Know Who I Am, the player who had the highest rep by the end of the campaign there. So various rewards for finishing this campaign too. When founding a gang in this campaign, the first thing you're going to do is start with 1,000 credits for your general gang and then add another 400 credits of vehicles and fighters with the mounted special rule there as well. So the emphasis on this campaign really is all around vehicles and fast mobile combat. So in summary, the Ash Wastes campaign system is a fairly simple one. It's certainly more simple than the Outlands campaign or some of the other ones. I would say that it is quite a good starting point, particularly if you want to start using vehicles, because this really is where vehicles are inserted into the setting. Ash Wastes is all about vehicles, and it's pretty interesting here using them if you really want to go to town on creating custom vehicles and mounted fighters and all that. Personally, my heart is in the Underhive, but it is really fun for a bit of variation to throw vehicles into the mix here. But yeah, the road sections are pretty cool. I do like the sort of narrative sort of fluff around this campaign as well. I have played one of these campaigns and it was a lot of fun. Is it a good starting place for someone new to Necromunda? Perhaps, yeah, but I'd still recommend the the main Dominion campaign as the best sort of starting point in Necromunda, because it is the most straightforward and simple of the lot. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back with another campaign guide real soon. Peace out.